Hello everyone, welcome back to Real Reds Talk, the #1 independent fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. This is your weekly breaking news show. It's the 8th of November and we are back. Of course, we didn't have a show, I think, since Saturday when we did the Aston Villa preview. Yeah. Adam was in Manchester, Sam had some things to sort out, Dan was travelling, Shreyas had exams. It was just manic for everyone. So it's been a busy period. So we haven't been on for a couple of days, but the main thing is we are back. And as you can see, I do have Adam and Shreyas joining me on the show today. So welcome, lads. Adam, back in Sligo, of course. First question, how was your time in Manchester? And second question, are you missing me yet?
Well, I had a really, really good time, as you know. And yeah, I'm missing you a lot, Nick. We had to, we both drew 2-2 on pools. So there's that playoff game for the championship. Who's going to finish first? We got to wait and see till the next one. But yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm perfect. You brought it back in United fashion as well, didn't you? I think you went 2 down. Was it 2 games down, and then you brought it back to 2-2. Typical. So yeah, next time you return to Manchester, we'll certainly revisit that game. Shreyas, the former PUBG king. I'm not sure what game you're currently playing at the minute. So if you let me know that, then I'll call you that king.
Yeah.
How did your exams go?
Yeah, they're still going. So I think post 18th, you can see me on the channel every single day, every single hour.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. Fingers crossed. Are we smashing A stars? Is that what we're doing?
I hope so.
Hope so. Well, I've got my fingers crossed for you. I'm sure people in the chat have as well. Okay, just a quick one, guys. Before we dive into the show, make sure you subscribe to the channel and smash a like on the video. Also, for this month, we as a channel are partaking in the Movember Challenge, raising money for a mental health charity called Mind. If you would like to make a small donation or even just share the page on your socials, the link is in the bio. Thank you for the donations that have already been made. I think we're near £100 or something like that. So we're nearly halfway through our target. And we're hoping to smash the £200 target by the end of the month. So thank you already for your kind donations. And as I said, if you'd like to make a donation, the link is in our Instagram bio. So on today's agenda, fellas, we're going to discuss Cristiano Ronaldo potentially leaving in January. Jude Bellingham apparently is priority target, according to a reliable journalist in Germany. And reports that a loan move for Anthony Elanga was ruled out in the summer. So we're going to discuss his future at the club as well. We'll start off with the Cristiano Ronaldo story, lads. United expect Ronaldo to leave the club in January transfer window. The club have already begun searching for a successor to strengthen Erik ten Hag's squad and ensure tranquility. Adam, I'll start off with you on this. United have already kind of said they're not going to spend money in January. We've spoken about it a few times. Surely they are not going to let Ronaldo go and then just not replace him, are they? Like, surely not.
Given our options up front, I can't see why they'd let him go and have no replacement come in at all. We've seen it as well. We brought in kind of lesser names. We brought in the likes of Igalo I think that was in the January window before. Potentially we could see names like that coming in again. But given the contract and the wages that Cristiano's on, that's a large sum of money off the books. So I don't know why we can't go out and sign someone, particularly one name and one option that we keep coming back to. But yeah, we can't go half a season, more than half a season, I think it is, really. And you're coming into like cup games then as well, where you need options, especially options off the bench. Because let's face it, Anthony Martial can't stay fit. Or not really fitness issue, just injury. He's very injury prone, keeps picking up injuries. So I don't see a world where we can let him go and not bring anyone in at all. And I know they're kind of pumping that agenda, oh, we're not spending money. But let's be honest, if there is a bit of pressure on the club, they're going to spend and open their checkbooks. We've seen it in the past. Just to kind of, it's just PR spin the whole time. But they're probably testing the waters to see if they can get away with it now. And if there's a negative reaction within the fan base, then they're probably going to change that tone really quick. So I don't see a world where we can let Ronaldo go and not bring in anyone.
They always say, don't they, in the January window, I hate it, because as soon as you get to Christmas, they start putting out this kind of PR thing that, oh, it's a very tough window to do business in, and we're not going to have much money, and they're kind of pleading all this shite. Even though last season, literally this year, in January, they took out, I think it was £15 million in dividends. So there's clearly money there to take, which they do every single year. And if you look at some of our signings as well in January, Nemanja Vidic, Patrice Evra, was Bruno signed in January?
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes. So some of our really good signings were signed then. So there's no excuse for me. In the same article, straight as the journalist mentioned Choupo-Moting as a potential player they're looking at. Do you think it'll be a stopgap player that they look for rather than a legit signing, something like an Igalo again?
Yeah. I think he would be better than Igalo, but I don't think he's the answer to the striker position. I don't think he's the answer that we need right now. I don't think that he's, the missing piece to the puzzle right now. I think there definitely are better, and I think there are much, I would say, younger prospects available across Europe for Ten Hag to actually look into. And considering the type of profiling we've seen Ten Hag to actually move when it comes to a striker, we've seen Sesko being mentioned before the season started. Anthony Martial, when we were into preseason, he looked really, really confident that Martial would be the starting number 9 for us in this season. And Choupo-Moting isn't that sort of a player if I have to compare him to Martial or if I have to compare him to Sesko. So I don't really see the point of actually making this sort of a transfer, considering our board doesn't really want to spend that much cash. Why actually spend it on a player who's not going to do anything, who's just going to be here on certain wages, might score a few goals, but in the longer run wouldn't help us. So I really don't see him being. I think once again he's just one of those rumor signings that we get in every single window. We almost get linked with 100 players every single window, so I think he's one of them. But yeah, we definitely do need a striker if Ronaldo does leave. I think it is going to be a big concern as well, because if we don't really invest in this winter window, I don't think our squad can handle it, because I think before the World Cup, it is that we're actually struggling with injuries. We are struggling with actually, maintaining performances throughout the week because our players are actually really, really tired. They can't keep up with the levels every single playing 3 games in a week. And after the World Cup, I think it's just going to get even more tougher, because you never know how players are going to come back from the World Cup. Some of them might pick up an injury. Some of them might need some rest. So it is going to be really difficult for us to cope with it, and we definitely need some investment in this winter window.
Who would you go for, though? Who's a realistic signing in January that we would sign? Now, obviously, we'd all sit here and say, I don't know, sign Sesko or sign this guy, sign this guy. It's not going to happen in January, is it? So who's someone who could be an astute signing who we could go and get for maybe, I don't know, 20 to 30 million if we get Ronaldo off the wage books, and then go target him in Europe? Is there anyone you guys kind of have in your mind who fits that profile? It's tough, isn't it?
I think Patrick Schick or Andre Silva from Leipzig or Leverkusen. I think both of them, I think they're really young. I think they also fit the profile of a Ten Hag striker. And I think both of them have been really decent this season. And if we are able to negotiate smartly, I don't think we should be paying more than 35 million for either of those players.
Yeah. What about yourself, Adam?
Yeah, just the striker department right now is not really well. The striker market isn't really the best right now, and we're probably going through the worst time for this. If you're looking for just like an option, had he not moved to Everton, I probably would have went for someone like Mope.
Wow, really?
I know it sounds mad. Just as an option like that, you need a second kind of choice like that. Someone who's not really injured that often. I know he hasn't set the world alight as Everton, but I think the name I probably would have targeted earlier would have been Richarlison. I think he would have been a decent option for us as well. And I think he would have actually played into 2-footed player. He's fast, he's good in the air, he's strong, and he's just not being used right at Spurs right now. Obviously, Harry Kane is playing up front, and I think he's playing more so on the left when he gets the chance, but then he's competing with Son for that position. So I don't really know why they signed him. He could have actually gotten probably starting football for us, but we probably weren't in for him at all, let's be honest. We were after one player and everyone else had signed. But looking at it, I just can't really think of that many options. Obviously, the two that Shreyas said are two good options. I like Andres Silva. I think he can be decent. I think he's had one really, really good season. The rest kind of there, but we've seen Ten Hag bring the likes of Sebastian Haller to that next level.
Yeah.
And so he could potentially do it with someone like that. Doesn't necessarily have to be a big name. So as long as they fit the profile of the system that Ten Hag's going for, I'll be happy with any of them. Let him do the iron.
Yeah. But one player I really, really want, and obviously we'd have to go get him in summer, would be Sesko. That's one player I'm a massive fan of. Mobile, quick, great finish. He's like 6'3", something like that. Like looks like that Haaland kind of model, and I think that'd be perfect for our setup. But again, it's then the question: do we wait until the summer, drag it out with Cristiano, and keep this ongoing kind of roller coaster going, and wait, or do you kind of rush into it, go get a stopgap, and then address the situation in the summer? That's the kind of difficult decision to make. I'm not sure which one I'd rather have right now, to be honest with you, because I can see the wheels coming off slightly the more fixtures we start to play. We already look knackered now.
Yeah.
You've got a 38-year-old Ronaldo who's, as I said on the Instagram live yesterday, he scored less goals than Andreas Pereira this season. Andreas Pereira's got 2 goals, Ronaldo's got 1 in the league. So it tells you everything you need to know there. Let me know in the comment section, guys, people, if you're watching live or if you're watching later on, what striker you would go for, if you would go for one in the January transfer market,
actually,
or at least wait
the
next summer.
We've got Matt Planet 100 in the chat who's saying, hearing we are able to get rid of Ronaldo in January, Vlahovic will be available for 50 million and is reported something what we are willing to do. Can't imagine we do a big move in January though. Gakpo would still be a 30 million price tag signing.
I really like Gakpo, but I like what Dan says about Gakpo as well. I know we can play as a striker, but it seems like a similar thing to Rashford and Martial, where they're both left wingers and they can play as. Do you know what I mean? So I want that out and out killer number 9. Maybe he can develop into that. I'm not sure, but I'd take Gakpo anyway. Like I think that should just be a certified attacker who should be brought into our team. But yeah, I want a certified number 9 who's a killer in the box and physically strong, mobile, quick. So Vlahovic is a very good shout, and given the state of what Juventus are in at the minute, financially it might not be too bad of an option, like a 50-60 million pound move, because he is a good player. If you were both to give me a percentage, the likelihood of Cristiano leaving in January, what would you give me? Do you think out of 100?
Ooh. I'd probably go 60.
60%.
Because I don't know if there's any club that'll want him. That's the thing. He can want to make the move, but who's going to take him?
Yeah, like they're looking at this thinking, is he really worth 400 grand a week? Like, is one goal with it in 6 months potentially worth 400 grand a week? And obviously, it's not going to be none of the big dogs. It's going to be the lower ones like Napoli and teams like this, and they simply can't afford them wages. They just can't. So if he does, he'll have to take a wage cut. And I don't know what's more likely, Ronaldo taking a wage cut or a team signing him on 400k, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think 60 to 90, anywhere kind of around that region would be viable, I think. So yeah, I think the whole January transfer window as well is just going to be Ronaldo every single day. There's going to be updates, there's going to be twists, turns. The journalists are going to be, all over it. Absolutely all over it.
What about a hypothetical situation? He has a really, really good World Cup and actually scores a good few goals. What happens then?
It's tough because I've seen great players have good World Cups before, and then they've come into league form and they just look completely. I've seen Harry Maguire perform really well for England, and then for United just be absolute dog turd. So it's a tough one. I think obviously it'd be great for confidence if he comes back. I think we play Nottingham Forest on the 27th, don't we? After the World Cup, and that's that first game back, which is obviously a great game to come back to. So you think if he has a good World Cup, maybe he could get a couple of goals there, and then you carry on that momentum. But I don't know where his head's at. I feel like he just wants to get out and he wants to make sure that Champions League record is solidified. I think that's the main sticking point, because he's watching Messi now tear it up at PSG in the League One and tear it up in the Champions League with him and Neymar getting big figures, by the way, like double figures in both goals and assists. And he's thinking if he carries on and PSG go far in this Champions League tournament, he's potentially going to overtake my record. And he's been building that for like 20 years, man.
I think if he actually has a good World Cup, I think he'll definitely move. I think if he has a good World Cup, I don't think there's going to be anything that would be stopping him from moving.
Yeah, I would go as far to say if he does have a good World Cup, that means it's even more likely that he goes.
Yeah,
to be honest, just in
definitely.
my personal opinion. But I hope he does. It's Ronaldo, in it. Like the last thing I want with him is his legacy to kind of be tarnished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know where you two guys kind of stand on that point. The way it's gone with Cristiano, this situation in summer, then not turning up to pre-season, walking out Old Trafford at Spurs, other little things. Like, where's your head at with Cristiano in terms of his legacy? Has it been affected at all?
I think when last season actually ended, I did see him moving because I never imagined that any football fan would have to see Cristiano Ronaldo with a Europa League emblem on his shoulder, and I mean his legacy is too good to actually be playing in the Europa League, and it was
Yeah.
pretty much certain that he wanted to leave. It was, and I would actually say it was pretty much certain that Eric Ten Hag was actually good with him leaving as well. But it was our owners who actually didn't want him to leave, because no matter what happens, Cristiano is going to bring in a lot of revenue and a lot of money. He's going to sell a lot of shirts, and that is one of the major reasons why the Glazers weren't willing to actually sell him in this window. And I think once again, I think it is similar to how Ollie's legacy at United ended. At the end, it got so bad that people started going after him in a much different direction, which I would say wasn't really needed. And he was a United legend, but it got really bad at the end when he was sacked. And I don't want that to happen to Cristiano Ronaldo as well, because it doesn't really send a good message for the club as well if we are not able to respect or not able to give our legends a good farewell, or a good stance while they come in or move out. So yeah, I hope that I think he does leave. I think he leaves in this window, but I hope he does it does it on good terms.
It's a weird one, isn't it, Adam? Because the fairy tale of him coming back, I know I mentioned this quite a lot, but him scoring a brace against Newcastle and getting 20 plus goals in the season is just like, had everything that he wanted from that story aside from the trophies, and obviously the decline to the season was kind of tainted on that as well. Where's your head at? Because I know you had a slightly different approach with Ronaldo, the way he was acting in pre-season and stuff.
Yeah, it all started with pre-season, and I think the club are partially responsible for that as well with their slow negotiations. He saw our transfer window at the start, and for the most part, was a lack of ambition. And he knows he's at the end of his career, and he doesn't want to just hang around at a club that are willing to, just accept mediocrity. And that's what we were doing for large parts till they panicked and pulled out their checkbook. And let's be honest, they overspent on a few of the players, and we could have signed someone else for the money that would have made the difference. And that's where it started. It started with the club initially. He wanted to leave, and he kind of threw his toys out of the pram. I think he initially was in Ten Hag's plans as well. Could have been a nailed-on starter, because he said, what does he bring? Guarantees goals. From what I remember of watching Ajax, Sebastian Haller didn't necessarily press that much, but was always in the right place at the right time. Good in the air, got good, like plenty of chances created for him. And now that he's building the team in a different way, where we're not creating that many chances for the number 9, because we don't have a number 9 recently. We're trying to get them on the break. But it started then. And then there was this interview that he was meant to do that he publicly put out. I'm going to do an interview. That never saw the light of day. Was it like a Roy Keane kind of thing? With MUTV? Who knows? But we're never going to see that. I don't even know if he done it. So it started there. And obviously, Ten Hag isn't going to play him if he's getting noisy and thinking he's bigger than the club. And for me, I've fully backed the manager and how he's dealt with the situation. I don't think he's put a foot wrong. And many of Ronaldo's fans see Ten Hag as the enemy, but at the end of the day, Ten Hag is running the football club now, and he's the main man. He's the main man. He's making all the decisions, and at least he can put his hands up and admit that he's made a mistake. And it just keeps getting worse. It's a snowball effect nowadays, and I think we reached a peak, honestly, when he just walked off and refused to come on. That was not just disrespectful to the manager. It was disrespectful for the fans paying tickets to go there, and his teammates who were actually performing really well. So it said a lot to me that he didn't give a shit about anything right there and then. So for me, I think it's best if you just part ways. because before it just gets extremely toxic, and I don't want to see it go to the personal level where it went with Ollie as well, because Ollie was a legend with the club at the end of the day, and everyone turned on him. They did, and it got, as Shreya said, it got very, very personal, and you don't want to see that happen again. And this is a football player at our club, not a coach. So I think it's best to try and part ways, but we need to get a replacement because we have no options up front.
I do think Ten Hag managed that situation so well, though. Like he couldn't have handled it any better. The way he went about it, he took him out of the squad, made him realise the standards at the club, brought him back in, and then he was kind of had a different attitude then, and was like, because if you do that before a World Cup as well, especially, you're not getting any game time whatsoever. You then risk the fact that I think that Portugal would probably always take Ronaldo at that point, even if he was out for a few weeks, just because of his leadership and the qualities that he brings. But if you do that to another player, let's say someone who's not as certified in a World Cup squad, it really, really hinders the chances of going. So Ronaldo's probably thinking, fuck, I just need to get back into the squad now. I need to get playing. I need to get some minutes under my belt. But he hasn't performed. I think, can we all agree at least that he's on the decline? Like, do we all kind of accept that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you with that? Do you agree with that, Shreyas, or do you feel like there's something in there still?
I mean, definitely. I would say if I have to compare him to the Ronaldo 4 to 5 years back, I think definitely there are big changes. I think definitely his level has dropped a bit. But one thing is, I think over the years he has still been able to adapt. I think he's still been able to score goals. If I take this season out as well, last season he was able to score a lot of goals. Before that at Juventus, considering seeing now how Juventus play without Ronaldo, he was able to score almost 100 goals in 3 seasons in that sort of a setup with no creativity, with nothing at all. Exactly.
Really in the mud.
And he was able to score 100 goals in 3 seasons with that sort of a team style and setup. So I would say definitely it's not easy to score goals without any service. Definitely it takes a special player to actually, create something out of nothing and still be able to, rack up some really good stats. So, yeah, I think this season, more than his performances on the pitch, it's been relations of the pitch and how he has conducted himself with the club that has affected situations a lot more, because it's been, really unclear as to when Ronaldo has been starting, when Ronaldo has not been starting. Rashford has been playing up top for us. We've seen Ilanga being picked ahead to allocate Rashford as a number 9 and not play Ronaldo in that lineup. So it's been really weird. But I think definitely even now when the big stage is gonna come up, I think he'll be able to step up.
I'm questioning the World Cup. I have no idea how he's going to get on there. I don't know if he's going to really perform, pull like a rabbit out of the hat, and then everyone's like, I told you.
Imagine if he wins the World Cup.
That's what I mean. Like, I think there's so many exciting elements coming out of this World Cup, like players that are coming out of it, because you always get the star players that everyone's like, whoa, and they kind of make you take notice, and then what teams are going to win it, what teams are going to get further. Yeah, I think it's super fascinating at the minute. But we'll park the Ronaldo story for the meantime, and I'm sure we'll come back to that at some point later on this week. I want to talk about Jude Bellingham. Again, this is from the same journalist, Pletty Goal, who's relatively reliable. And he says Jude Bellingham is Manchester United's number 1 target. United expect him to cost around 150 million. They have scouted him a lot, and Erik Ten Hag wants him in 2023. I imagine there's going to be a lot of competition for a player like this. He's going to have astronomical wages. Do we go all out for a player like this, Adam? Or would you rather go for someone else, considering the wages and the transfer fee?
Yeah, you got to go all out and give them Fred and Phil Jones apart with some cash anyway. I know. For me, the price tag is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think anyone is worth near that money. We're looking at Frankie de Jong. We had agreed on 70 to 72 million. I know I keep mentioning the name, but he's only a little bit older than Jude Bellingham, isn't he? I think he's about what?
Sorry to interrupt, Adam. When I see him at Old Trafford, if I can manage to get a ticket for that game, I'm going to take a cardboard cutout of De Jong and just have it next to me and say, "This is what you could have been," and having him like a United kit.
Put him in a United shirt.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, he knocks us out of the Europa League.
Oh, don't. My heart's already broken. That'll be smashed to pieces after that.
Mm-hmm. And for me, it's a bit of a worry because we've also paid a lot for a wonder kid, an English wonder kid from Dortmund in the past, and look what he's doing right now.
Who's that?
So just exactly, who is that? We haven't seen him much. Lots of rumors around why, particularly fitness anyway. But I know Jude Bellingham. There's no question he's very, very talented, and that's why all these big clubs are in for him. You have Real Madrid knocking, you have Liverpool knocking. Yeah. I think City were even interested.
I think City's going to be the one, if I'm honest. Like the way Pep Guardiola talks about him is very glowing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for me, I just don't think it will work out for us. And that's maybe I'm just so used to seeing people coming and not performing in the last 10 years and overspending. We've seen it with Pogba. Pogba could have been one of the best midfielders of his generation. Nowhere near the top 20 for me, even. He just didn't have a good time at United, and he just wasn't good enough. He won stuff here and there, particularly in international football, but just wasn't good enough for club. And I don't know if it's a club thing, the expectations coming to this club. You don't have as much expectations when you're at City, which is saying a lot because they've been winning the league a lot recently. But for me, I think it's just ridiculous. You're going to be starting a youngster off at a very high wage. So where's the reward and the push for them to get better? That's what we've done with Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho, I think, was on what Ronaldo is currently on now after the 20% reduction on the
350
salary?
I think he's on.
Yeah. Around that 350. So where is the push for a player to improve? You should start them, as particularly young players, off on a lower contract, and then when they improve, they sign better deals. That's how I think you should do it. Reward by actually performing on the pitch rather than their brand, their marketability. So for me, 150 million, way too much. Wages are going to be way too much, and I genuinely think you can get better options for less than half the price of that.
Yeah, it doesn't always translate from the Bundesliga, does it? As well, obviously, you talked about Jadon Sandwich. Sorry, I had to throw that in. I was going to say Jason Sancho. Jesus Christ, Jadon Sancho. Sorry. We've obviously had Kagawa, who didn't really work out. Was okay. Came from Dortmund. Mkhitaryan was one who played for Dortmund as well. Didn't work out. It rarely translates. The only few players I can think of where it's translated from the Bundesliga to the Prem, players like Gundogan, who's obviously been a really good player for Man City, and I'm sure there's one or two more. But yeah, there is that kind of. There is a difference. I know the Bundesliga is a good league, but the Prem is top echelon at the minute, so it is hard for players, especially English players, to make that. Not English players, other foreign players, to make that transition. Sorry. Do you think we have a realistic chance of signing someone like Jude Bellingham, Shreyas? Why?
Because we won't get Champions League next season. And
going bold on that. You don't think we get Champions League top four?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Not a chance. He says. Wow.
Only if we win the Europa League. I don't think we can get top 4 through the league. I don't think we have the squad depth. I think this season was the biggest reality check I could get for this entire season, is because against a team like Aston Villa, who just got a new manager in, we had a record of not actually losing to them at their home ground for about 25 to 50 years or something. But what I saw on the pitch that day was that all of our players, like entire 11, was absolutely tired from the first minute. They didn't have enough energy to actually match Aston Villa, and it was the same team pretty much that played against Real Sociedad on the in the middle of the week. And the reason why that squad was picked is because we don't have enough quality players on the bench that can actually come in and do a job for us. I mean, Eriksen pretty much played the entire 90 minutes against Villa as well, but he wasn't particularly playing well. Ten Hag didn't really want to, use Fred or McTominay in Eriksen's position, which speaks a lot, because he knows that the quality drop off when Fred or McTominay comes in for in place of Eriksen's position is actually quite massive. And considering now
maybe Bellingham can fill that void, that energy void.
Yeah, but considering like you mentioned, Jude Bellingham, if he has the option of actually moving from Dortmund, and he's got offers from Madrid, Manchester City, Liverpool, and then Manchester United, I don't think he'd be picking Manchester United.
Who choose them?
But still, I think that is one of the biggest reasons I think we won't be able to finish in the top four, and that might affect our transfer window next season as well. But I think it was bound to happen as well, considering how our window went. I mean, Delo has still not gotten even a single rest. I mean, he has been suspended for our next game, but Delo has pretty much played the last 12 or 13 games non-stop for us every single week. So, definitely we lack squad depth to actually make it into the top four. And yeah, that's, I think, one of the biggest reasons I think why we won't sign someone like a Jude Bellingham. And considering, our club is willing to actually use 150 million for him, why not, divide that 150 million and, fill up 3 to 4 positions in our squad, which we could do really well. I mean, if we could, if we have access to that sort of money, why not go for Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle? He would cost about 50-55.
Look how much we paid for Lissandro. I know we overpaid, but we paid 58 million.
Exactly.
If you can get a similar level of quality, which I trust Ten Hag to go out and get, you could get a couple of players for that price.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I remember we rolled out the red carpet for Bellingham as well, didn't we, before he went to Dortmund?
Yeah.
And he was still like, nah, mate, I'm going to go Dortmund, which for his, if you look at how we've been over the past couple of years, was probably the best decision to make for his career path. I think he made a good choice going Dortmund. Anyone who starts off there as a young player tends to branch out really well. So, yeah, I think that was a good choice for his career path. And whether he'd consider us again, I'm not entirely sure. But on you mentioned the game there. I just want to quickly throw this out there. I told you guys that would be a banana skin. I just knew it. The lack of any. Watching Sociedad, the energy in that game and the lack of intensity at times. And Eriksen and Van der Beek were underwhelming again. It does worry me slightly for the game on Thursday night. I don't know how he's going to go about that, especially if the likes of Wan-Bissaka are starting and things. So, but we'll see what happens with that game. We will have the preview for that tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? The preview? Yeah, the preview is tomorrow around 6:30. So make sure you guys tune in for that and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Last couple of questions on Jude Bellingham. Adam, I'll come to you on this. We was discussing off air about Liverpool, the new takeover that I think FSG is selling. Liverpool are one team that's heavily been linked with Jude Bellingham. Do you think the potential sale of Liverpool from the owners could affect that potentially? Make us maybe new top runners? Because us, United and Liverpool, were the ones described as the ones who are most kind of in for Jude, if you know what I mean.
You see, it can work both ways. Whoever comes in, depending on how long they take, the first thing they're going to want to do is probably make a good impression with the fans. And what's a better impression than getting one of the hot prospects in Europe that everyone wants? So there's that side of it too. If the sale of the club kind of drags on, which potentially these things can, the only reason it got accelerated, the Chelsea thing accelerated, was because they had to do it. Then potentially Liverpool could have a very, very bad window. They mightn't actually go for players because a lot of their investment is obviously it's from player sales, but the people making these decisions, their futures are also in doubt. So they're just like, am I staying around? Am I going to put all this work in? So it can work both ways. If they get the takeover done very early, potentially someone could come in and they want to make a good impression. They'll potentially sign them then. Or this whole thing drags out and Liverpool just go off worse. They could, because let's be honest, the current owners aren't going to invest anything into it now, knowing that they're putting it up for sale. What's the point in investing money now? So I think looking at it, I think the guy probably wisest decision is probably going to Madrid. And I think Madrid have that money because they were willing to do it on Mbappe.
Yeah.
And I think that ship has sailed. So
you never know. You never fucking know with Mbappe the way he's going on at the minute. I think if you watch PSG, I know you do watch them quite a bit. If you watch Messi and Neymar, the way they're linking up on the pitch now and the way they're playing, just Mbappe doesn't feel apart. I know he's still getting numbers. I know he's still getting goals and assists, but I can only see it ending one way with Mbappe at PSG, to be honest. And I think it will end up moving to another club. When, how, if, I don't know the logistics of it, but I do think he will end up going. Just slightly back onto Liverpool with Bellingham. Their transfer record is Darwin Núñez, right? It was 80 million. I know. Well, that's almost half of what Dortmund want for Jude Bellingham. I can't see a team like Liverpool spending that much, honestly.
Yeah.
I really can't. Whether he's worth it or not, again, look, that's up for debate. I'm not sure. He's a generational talent, but if we was to go spend that amount of money on him, Shreyas, would he fit into the squad, do you think?
I think if we actually, go in for that sort of money for Jude Bellingham, I don't think we'll have any. If we do go in for him for like about 150 to 160 million, I don't think we'll have any other option but to actually, involve him into the squad. Because imagine we sign Jude Bellingham for 150 million, but we still see Scott McTominay starting ahead of him. So that would be a very
shivers.
That would have happened under Ollie, though.
Yeah.
Legit.
I mean, imagine if Jude Bellingham, didn't move to Dortmund, actually came to Manchester United. Could have been the same case as Ahmad.
Would have been stunted, wouldn't it?
It could have been the same case as Ahmad.
He'd be playing for Rochdale.
Yeah.
So, I think if he does come, it would help us out a lot, because then we'll have the option of rotating Christian Eriksen with someone who's actually, really, really decent, could be one of the, I would say better center midfielders in the coming generation. And I do see it being very unlikely now, the way our club is proceeding. But I think in either of these windows, I think the winter window or the coming summer transfer window next season, I think in at least one of those windows, I think we will invest. But it would be just one of them. It is still, I think, out for debate as to which one we'll actually be going in for, because there are just too many slots to actually fit in. We need another central midfielder, we need a right back, we need a striker, and we need another winger in there as well. So that's 4 positions in itself already there. So it's going to be tough for us.
I might be in the minority here, but I would still rather go get De Jong, because I think he'd be perfect for us. I think he's got everything that Eriksen has, but he has the legs as well, and he's better at carrying the ball, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
So and it's half the price.
Perfect with Casemiro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
De Jong, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, all day.
Perfect midfield.
Yeah, I would take that. It's got a perfect balance. I'm still hanging on to that. I know everyone's absolutely wrote it off, but I'm still hanging on to that deal. And as I said, I'll take my cardboard cut out to the Barcelona game in February. I promise you that will happen.
That's the shirt printed out, De Jong on the back, the United shirt with De Jong.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh my God. But yeah, I'll take something. I'll definitely take something. Let's move on then to the last topic, guys. Chair's deciding to speak to me. Anthony Elanga. This is from Fabrizio Romano, who's been writing for Court Offside. And he said there was some interest in a potential loan deal for Anthony Elanga in August, but United decided to keep him. No surprise as you look at our squad depth currently. For you, Adam, what happens with Anthony Elanga now? Have you seen enough from him to stay, or you just kind of made your mind up now and it's like, yeah, he can go, not too fussed?
I think he deserves a loan move now, but given our options, we don't have that many. But I'd like to see. It's weird for me. I think Garnacho has taken that kind of spot from him. So he's gone down the second order. Yeah, Garnacho, especially against Sociedad when we were watching the game, like we were saying, was that his left foot that he scored on? It was such a great finish into the roof of the net. And let's be honest, if that was a Elanga, he'd probably put it into the side netting. If I'm being honest, his finishing just isn't that good. All he has is pace. He kind of reminds me a lot of Rashford, kind of in the days of running up blind alleys. Yeah. And I think a lot of it is just down to game time, a bit the rustiness, because we've seen when he had a good spell, when he was playing consistent, he was scoring against the likes of Atletico Madrid. He went on that spell. I think he took one bit of a low during it, was and missed a penalty against Middlesbrough or something. It was. Yeah,
you're right. I think.
Yeah. I think that was the kind of low point. But I still think like a loan to someone like an Everton would be good for him, and I think that's what they should be looking at now. I know we're not probably going to bring anyone in, but if we were to sign a winger, the one that Gakpo that everybody's talking about right now for relatively cheap, I'd put him out on loan, and potentially he does well at Everton. Then just let the lad go to Everton. It's only down the road. It's not like he has to, sell an apartment or a house or anything.
Well, you've seen what they've done with the Iwobi, what Frank Lampard's done with the Iwobi as well. He was just completely written off. Everyone was calling him absolute dog shit last season, and he's one of the best players this season. He's looking really good. So sometimes that kind of change of scenery, a new manager, as we've seen previously under Ragnick, it can change. It can make a player a little bit better. And it's one of them. But if he does return to that form, Strayas, like he was under Ragnick, was relatively well. I know he only had like 2 goals, 2 assists in the Prem, but he was playing good. He was one of the standout players under him. Would you keep him as a squad player, keep him on? Or have you kind of, especially with, kind of throw this out here, Palestri leaving United, would you keep that in mind as well?
Before I answer that, Aaron and Sam are in the chat. Aaron saying Ilanga definitely needs a loan. He needs to develop his game consistently. Sam is saying he should have been on loan for the last 3 years and that he's been overplayed for too long and has been exposed instead of being able to develop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And for my answer, I think United will struggle a lot after selling Pelistri. I think he definitely is going to be a big talent, and I think he could be one of those star boys coming out of this World Cup as well. He's going for in the World Cup with the Uruguayan squad, so we will be seeing him.
Can I just get your thoughts on Palestri, Strayas? Because we haven't really spoken about it. There's been more comments that have come out today saying he's definitely going to leave, especially if he has a decent World Cup. Is that right for a player at his kind of development stage that he's at?
There was another line after it, Nick, saying whether it will be a loan or a move, it is still not sure. So,
okay.
No,
you need to make that clear. Yeah.
So there is he might still have a future at United. But I think he's at that point now where he definitely needs consistent game time. And I mean, if he does have a really good World Cup, then I think clubs would actually be lining up for him to actually get a loan move, because I remember during the preseason when he actually got an injury, he was supposed to go out on loan. I think it was to Leverkusen or to Dortmund, some German club, and because of his injury, he couldn't really go on that loan deal, so he had to stick around at United. Hasn't really gotten any game time up until now, but yeah, I think if he has a good World Cup, I think he'll definitely move. I hope it's a loan deal. I definitely hope it's a loan deal. But yeah, I think.
Can I play devil's advocate with you?
Yeah.
So when he went to Alaves, I think it was, in the Spanish league, he played equivalent. I think it was like 672 minutes, which is about, I don't know, in his first loan spell, I think it's like 7.5 games or something. He got no goals, no assists there, and then he had another 22 games with him, had no goals and no assists there either. So do you still think clubs would be potentially lining up for him, judging off that and judging off what they've seen? Maybe you could argue that what they've seen in the Uruguay team for his international, he's been he's looked all right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd question if a lot of clubs would be in for him or not. Just my personal opinion.
I think when it comes to young players, especially when you talk about the World Cup, I think if young players like Pelistri, I would who are around I would say the age bracket of 19 to 23. I think if those sort of players are able to step up during the World Cup, I think they do tend to get deals a lot more easier, because it shows that even though they are young, they are able to step up their game when it comes to the big when it comes to take for about 2
on this. Hello guys, we are back. If you're thinking what the fuck's just happened, basically Shreyas had a blackout, disappeared like the Undertaker, and then we reappeared. We was going to play the theme music, but we get done for copyright order. So we shall return the conversation to where it was at. I'm pretty sure you was mid Palestri rant, Shreyas. Do you want to continue that, and then we'll finish the show off?
Yeah. Like I was saying, I think with younger players, it is easier to for them to actually get loan deals because, like you mentioned, at Alaves, he didn't, actually get, I would say, impressive performances. But I think a lot of it had actually, had to also come down to the fact that he actually only got 6 to 7 starts throughout his loan spell at Alaves. A lot of them were broken starts as well because he made most of his appearances through the bench for like Donny van de Beek. So it was tough for him at Alaves, but I think in pre-season both him and Ahmad looked really well. It looked for both of them that
Ahmad.
that both of them actually just needed loan deals, and we could probably be seeing something out of them similar to what happened with Jimmy Garner. So I hope this story doesn't end like Jimmy Garner, but yeah, both of them do need loan deals, and Ahmad right now is at Sunderland and he's doing well, and hopefully Pelistri is able to get one soon as well.
Ahmad's a star boy.
Yeah, right now you have Ahmad Palestri coming out to the press.
Oh my god!
Sorry,
you can't go.
Sorry, I had to.
You can't go in stream without a dad joke, can you? You can't do it.
No, I really can't.
I would have thought with your your week trip to Manchester, you could have cleared your head, come back, and then forget all the dad jokes. But they still to be.
I cleared a lot.
You still talk about your head though.
In some sense.
He's cleared a lot. Okay, he's cleared a lot. Let you know. Oh, you got. I don't think I've ever seen blush before.
Oh, jeez.
Right, have we got anything more to add on? I've obviously got Ahmad. Sam's got Garnacho. Shreyas has Palestra. Who's your youngster, Adam?
Phil Jones.
Youngster.
At heart.
Bit of a weird question to ask.
In the team. Okay, let's keep this PG.
Yeah, sorry.
Luke Shaw.
Mine's in the gutter.
Youngster.
At heart.
I have to go with Garnacho from what I've seen. The fella, like, he's everything. Yeah, he's just everything you kind of want in he's an exciting winger. Gets played.
Did you say everything you want in a youngster? Then I was like, no, don't say that. Please don't say that.
Aaron in the chat saying Luke Shaw as well. Aaron is also saying Luke Shaw.
Luke Shaw's 26 though, man. He's 26. He don't qualify for the youngster kind of category at United.
What about Hannibal Mabry though?
When I'm a youngster.
Yeah, I feel like Adam, you have to pick you have to have like your own one.
Yeah, Sam has actually come out and said in the chat, "Don't touch my boy."
Who is his boy? The Garnacho, was it?
Yeah, so Garnacho, Ahmad, and imagine if it was like blind dates, and Garnacho, Ahmad, and Palestri have gone. You've got a couple more hiding behind this metaphorical wall. Come on down.
Go on, Zidane Iqbal.
Okay, Zidane Iqbal. It's a good choice. Very good. He's like the Asian De Jong, I'd describe him as. Very press resistant, great ball carrier, good on the ball. Yeah, okay, we'll take that.
He can be mine.
Okay. I'll let Adam D blush, and then I'll give you the outro. For you guys, very random blackout, like towards the end of the stream, but we brought it back as always. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video. We will have the Aston Villa preview for you guys tomorrow about 6:30, and then obviously it's match day on Thursday, but I'm at the game, so there won't be a watch along. I'm in the Stretford end for that one. Can't wait for it. Follow us on social media if you like. All the links are in the video description, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. The last thing I want to say before we kind of head off, I mentioned it at the start of the stream. We are raising money for a mental health charity called Mind, and we're doing the Movember challenge. As you can see, Adam's little devil tash there that's slowly growing in progression. Yeah, Shreyas is growing his lovely hair, his lovely mane, I'll call it, like a lion's mane. And then I've obviously got this, whatever this is on my face as well. So yeah, we're contributing to Movember and we're trying to raise awareness for mental health. So if you'd like to make a donation, the link is in the Instagram bio. Thank you for all the donations that you've already made as well. We really appreciate it. Adam, thank you for coming on, mate. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week.
Yeah, likewise. Always a pleasure to be back. Good to be back, and busy week ahead.
Absolutely. Lots of content coming every single day. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's a show. So again, make sure you tune in for that 6:30. And Shreya's always a pleasure to have your company as well. I hope there isn't many more blackouts for yourself.
Yeah, I hope so as well, because I really wish I have a sound sleep at night.
Yeah, you will do. You will. I don't know about Palestri might disturb that sleep. Might have a bit of a nightmare if he leaves, but I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah,
let's be honest. Let's hope he doesn't black out drunk from watching United.
Yeah, I'll join you on that. Thank you very much, guys. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.